Thank you. You know, this is weird. After so many years as an opera singer, standing on stage, I'm still nervous. Every time I do it, I'm nervous. And if you had seen me on a stage like this a few years ago, you would have seen a different person. You would have seen Sandra Janke, the accomplished opera singer. Confident, polished, upright posture, in front of 2,000 people or 100 people, ready for the spotlight. But you wouldn't have seen a woman admitting that she's nervous. And you wouldn't have seen a woman hiding in the opera house, thinking that somebody might notice she had other thoughts on her mind than opera. A woman that was feeling like an imposter. You have to understand one thing. As an opera singer, I am trained to perform. I wasn't just performing on stage. I was performing my life. And I hate to boast, but I was really good in it. I played that role beautifully. I smiled even though I wanted to scream, and my body said no, but I said yes. And I followed that opera singer's dream even though it wasn't mine. Until one day, I looked around and found myself deep in a life that didn't feel like mine. And maybe you've been there too. Or maybe you are there right now in one part of your life. Because we all perform something. And actually, this is okay. We all do it. It's fine. It's self-preservation. To be easy to work with, always grateful. And while none of these things are wrong on their own, all together, they start to override your truth when you trade everything you want for safety or approval. And safety, in the long run, often becomes the enemy of the soul. And this is what happened to me. And I want to tell you that story today. In opera, we have certain unspoken truths. And one is you have to really want it with everything you've got. You have to strive for perfection. You have to know which roles you want to sing, and you have to know in which opera houses you want to sing in, and it has to be at least the Met and La Scala, of course. And you have to practice every day and feel guilty if you don't. And you have to be ready and perfect. And you become that driven, that tireless artist that breathes and lives opera. And I tell you something, this niche is so tough. Just few make the cut. And I did. I made the cut. And I looked at that dream that I held in my hands, and I felt guilt. Because it felt like it wasn't mine, but it was the dream of so many others. And I can still hear those voices. Sandra, oh my God, you made it. You sing on one of the biggest stages in Germany. You've got a teaching job in university and a family. You go, that's amazing. And yet, inside, something was fading. The joy, the certainty, the connection to myself. And that imposter voice got louder. And I developed stage fright. I even started to sip a glass of Prosecco just to calm the doubts. And by the way, this is the first time I admit this publicly. For the ones who don't know what imposter is, I brought a little definition. Imposter syndrome is a behavioral health phenomenon described as self-doubt of intellect, skills, or accomplishments among high-achieving individuals. Let's put that in my words. Imposter is when you stand in front of a mirror and believing you're just pretending to be that expert. And everybody will find out soon that you're not. My honest congratulations if you've never felt like an imposter. That's amazing, seriously. But I'm quite sure that at least some of you know that voice that gets louder and louder, and you're trying desperately to ignore it, maybe in a job or maybe in a habit or in a relationship. And you exactly know that ignoring it doesn't help. It will make itself heard someday. And that moment came for me when I was standing on stage, taking my bow. It is the final scene of Le Nozze di Figaro, the Marriage of Figaro by Mozart. And the curtain is falling, and the people are clapping, they're cheering, and the curtain is rising again, ready for the bow, and I can't do it. I'm shaking, I'm frozen. My ears are muffled, my vision is blurred, I can't see the audience, I can't hear them clapping. All I know is I have to get off this stage. So much for the glamorous life of an opera singer, right? Wig, makeup, tears running down my cheeks. And one big realization. I wasn't just performing on stage. I was performing everywhere. And as hard as it was that night, it cracked something open for me. And I don't want to tell you a Hollywood story, everything changed overnight, it didn't. But something happened. A quiet but unstoppable shift began. I listened to that inner voice, and that inner voice told me to follow my heart and to push the expectations I was holding towards myself aside, at least for a little while. And beautiful things happened. I want to share them with you. The first one is, beside my singing, I was really into mentoring and coaching creatives and leaders. And on the one side, I was really afraid that no one would take me seriously while still singing, as a career coach, I mean. And on the other side, I was afraid that I'd lose my credibility as a singer. And it felt all so true. But I did it anyway. I founded Artist Leadership, my online coaching business. And what happened? I actually reconnected with my voice. I still sing, and I do it more joyfully than ever. And I also feel complete by helping others realizing their passion projects. The second one, I left my safe university job. I was teaching voice at university, and I really liked it. I liked my students, and I liked that teaching part. But I knew that I wanted to do that coaching thing more intensively. And everything spoke against it. It was a safe job, it was well paid, my parents were proud of me and my teacher as well. And it was like the perfect base to transition to the next university role. So everything spoke against it, but I did it anyway. And what happened? People were actually inspired, and they started working with me in new and different ways. The third one. In 22, the opera and we parted ways after 10 seasons. In other words, I got laid off. And when last year, the perfect job position opened up there, the head of young opera department, I very much doubted that they would take my application as a former house ensemble singer who got laid off seriously. I was afraid that I would be humiliated in front of my former colleagues. But I did it anyway, even bringing my lifelong best friend with me on board. And what happened? We now had the Young Opera Department Leipzig as a female shared leadership team, and we thrive. You know, the life I'm living right now is a little bit unconventional, at least for my niche. People always told me, you can't be a singer and a coach. You can't be a singer and an entrepreneur. You can't be a singer and a mom. But I wanted that all so badly, so I did. And people still find it confusing. And people even say that I failed as a singer. But I've made peace with that. Because for the first time in my life, it feels deeply, joyfully, and undeniably me. Those 4 words, let's talk about them. If you speak them out loud, would you know what that exactly means to you? Are you letting yourself complete that thought? Or are you maybe a little bit scared to even go there, to think about that? So where do we go from here now? I believe everything you need is already inside you. The path you're looking for, it's already there. It just needs a little space and bravery and following your heart to see it and make itself show. You know, and also I thought about mindset. Mindset has become an accepted part of our reality. And maybe, just maybe, it's time for a new era. Maybe it's time for the heart set. When we listen to our heart, when we follow it, when we care for it. And I have 2 ideas how you can do this. One is about you and this book, this empty book. It's about sitting down every morning and writing 5 minutes. That's it. Just writing what's on your mind. Not trying to be polite or no structure, just what's on your mind. And here's something interesting for the fact and number lovers. We have 1,500 thoughts an hour. That's 36,000 thoughts a day. No wonder we feel overwhelmed, right? And if we don't pause and sift through all that noise, how are we supposed to hear what our heart has to say? So if you want to try it, challenge yourself and do it for 30 days and see what happens. The second, it's all about your people. When we talk about the courage to step off that scripted path, it can sound like a lonely journey, but actually it's the opposite. When you start opening up to your people, to maybe one person that sees you, that reminds you that you're not crazy for wanting something different. Because sometimes all it takes is one person telling you, this is amazing, you go, I believe you. So maybe this talk is not about finding your path or following your heart. Maybe it's also about finding your people, the ones who not just clap for your performance, but who cheer for your becoming. And this brings me to the last point. I thought about how do I want to end this today? Maybe by performing an opera aria. Because if you didn't like my speech, maybe you would like my high notes and the vocal fireworks. And I asked myself, is that how I want to end this? And the answer was no. I'd rather connect with you. And I do connect through music and through singing. But I want to sing a very simple song, which is very important to me and my family, because I used to sing it when my kids couldn't sleep. And that happened often, by the way. And, you know, maybe you won't like it, or maybe you won't think it's special. But it's deeply, joyfully, and undeniably me. So I'm going to do this anyway.